Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully, you're having a great day. If you've been watching Larry's Anything Goes programming, you know that we are not only providing great financial intelligence content as much as possible by interviewing other financial professionals, professionals in the travel industry, real estate industry, etc., and so forth, but we provide various services when it comes to specific products that we sell, from anything that you would actually find on Amazon or actually at Walmart, etc., and so forth. And we are actually providing specific products due to today's current crisis and whatnot to ensure that we provide the right services and products that you need at a reasonable price when it comes to medical face masks, when it comes to hand sanitizer, and when it comes to latex gloves and things of that nature, and etc., and so forth, toilet paper, paper towels. But we have what you need. Also, family, don't forget that Larry's Anything Goes is a part of an affiliate marketing network known as Gold Standard Partners, where you have the opportunity to buy cryptocurrency and allow others to invest with you as becoming an affiliate marketing partner. And obviously, if they purchase a package with the program, you're able to make money off their package purchases and make money off of their crypto purchases and things of that nature. If you want to join, please follow the links in the description, and I'll give you a call as soon as you sign up and purchase a package, and we'll go from there. But definitely, it's all about the best way to make money moves is to have currency with one another and to ensure that currency is always being spoken of on all levels, so it benefits everyone and not just one specific person. That's a lot of things that people forget about. So think about joining the program, and we'll be able to go from there. But if not, either way, it's always appreciated. And thank you for watching. And hopefully you guys have a great day and continuously make money moves so you don't live broke like a fool. Take care. As you can see, with our various products, we have our financial apparel. As you see, wearing There's Anything Goes t-shirt, financial intelligence is sexy, face masks, latex gloves, things of that nature, to obviously ensure the safety of you and your family all at the same time. We want to ensure that you get the best products and see the actual products that we're actually providing for you, and giving you another view of not only the shirts and the medical masks, but actually another view of actual latex gloves and the actual hand sanitizer. Because one thing we've learned throughout this unfortunate crisis is that we have to take more precautionary measures to ensure not only the safety for ourselves, but for our families. And having a great pair of hand sanitizers, latex gloves, and medical face masks will ensure that safety. And with all that being said, hopefully you guys will check out our online store. We have the various products that you see here. With a couple of clicks, especially if you're paying via PayPal, it makes life that much easier for you to purchase our various products, especially during this unfortunate situation. You see the apparel from Larry's Anything Goes. We have the medical products when it comes to hand sanitizer, latex gloves, medical face masks, things of that nature, and various other products. So please check out Larry's Anything Goes. Support small local businesses. We greatly appreciate it, and hopefully that you have a good day. How goes the family? How goes it? Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully you guys are having a great and exceptional evening. All right, let's get into it. Before I get into it though, disclaimer, I'm not taking political sides. So I don't care who you vote for. I don't care if you don't vote. My motto is don't worry about what's going on in the White House, State House, or the mayor's house. Worry about what you're doing in your house. That's the beautiful thing in the United States. But if you want to worry about that, great. Doesn't affect my pocket, so I don't worry about it. Okay. Let me talk about my home state of Virginia. Got the city of Richmond, my father's hometown, right behind me. So we're going to get into the state of Virginia's governor's race. I talked about California, governor's race and whatnot. And when I say it's a joke, I'm not just saying flat out, you shouldn't respect people who are in office, or you shouldn't respect that people want to possibly do great things and whatnot. But like anything else in life, there's self-interest. When people work a job, there's self-interest. When people start a business, there's self-interest. When people run for office, there is self-interest. No matter what we do in this life, You don't. The people are not paving the roads and whatnot in the streets because they want to make the community look better. They're doing it because they want to do the best job that they can do, and they want to get paid. People that maintenance to your house, your car, etc. People that work in the IT industry, truck drivers. The list goes on and on. You do the job because they're trying to make money, make a living, and make money moves, all that good stuff. All right. So, and it's the same thing with politicians, whether it's a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, and Independent, all that great stuff. Everyone has some sort of self-interest, even if they want to quote unquote do something good for the community, for the country, etc., and so forth. All right. Now, all right. I'm from the DMV area, from the Virginia side of the Potomac River, Northern Virginia area. Um, I call I call the Virginia governor's race a joke in a sense because I'm going to give a background, but before I do, because being a local Virginian, I'm gonna give my local perspective on the whole matter. But the two people that are running against each other, former Governor Terry McAuliffe, who was actually a businessman as well before he got into politics, and Glenn York Youngkin, who's actually a businessman himself. And before I even get into those two, they actually, by doing my little research, they actually have a lot more in common than more one would even think, even though one's on the left, quote unquote, one's on the right, quote unquote. But it's actually interesting how they have some of a background. So, but anyways, let's get into the state of Virginia. Like any other state in the United States of America, there are states that have the most robust economies, which usually in those areas have the most traffic. In certain instances, have more crime. Definitely has a higher cost of living. Great example. I'll use Texas as an example. The parts of Texas that matter the most is Austin, Dallas, Dallas, in particular. Those are the main right now. Houston, San Antonio, for a variety of reasons, because of the big amount of industry that's there, for the governments that are there, and the populations that's there, and all that good stuff. Okay, those are the major cities of the state of Texas. Not saying there's anything wrong with living in a small town or anything of that nature, but usually a small town means less population, means less going on and whatnot. That's just what it is. That's why people usually flock to live in the major cities, or at least work in the major cities. Well, that's how it used to be before the pandemic, and now you have a lot of people that are loving the remote lifestyle. So a lot of people that always wanted to live in the country are actually having the opportunity to do that because they got the opportunity in today's world to make six figures and live in a smaller town. That's the beautiful aspect of remote working. Even though a lot of corporations, especially the corporations that are based out of California and New York and whatnot, are actually cutting salaries of people that are remote working, that are not basically, that are living in other states, because they've seen the game. It's like, okay, well, yeah, we're not going to pay you California, New York standards when we see that you're living in Texas or Florida or North Carolina, South Carolina, or Georgia. So, hey, you give me your perspective on that. It is what it is. All right. But anyways, I digress. Now, when it boils down to the state of Virginia, the parts that matter the most is really three parts. Okay. You have Northern Virginia, which is right outside of Washington, D.C. The area is known as Arlington, Virginia, Alexandria, Virginia, Fairfax, Virginia, Loudoun County, Virginia, Reston, Virginia, Herndon, Virginia. Even though Herndon and Reston are actually part of Fairfax County, the cities, quote unquote, within Fairfax County, all the cities that are in Loudoun County, Prince William County, those specific areas, Stafford County, that all those areas, Fredericksburg, and Spotsylvania, that have a connection with Washington, D.C. Obviously, it's self-explanatory. Washington, D.C. is the hub of the federal government, always has been, ever since they moved the federal government from Philadelphia to Washington, D.C. And with that being said, with the federal government, like any other government, state governments, local governments, a lot of jobs come to play, not even just from the civil service aspect, but a lot of government contracting takes place as well. Private corporations that assist government when it comes to certain jobs that they need done, certain technology that they need created, things of that nature. All governments, on all from the local to the state to the federal government, had government contractors. All right, even corporations have their own set of contractors. So it is what it is. Contracting is definitely a way of life. But anyways, I digress. So that's the main aspect, the main bread and butter of the state of Virginia. Now we're going to go to the capital of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, which you see behind me. State capital, usually state capitals is money because that's where the state dollars flow. That's where you have a federal government presence because they work in conjunction with the state government and the state governors, and that's to have you have your liaisons and whatnot with the state governor, especially from an immigration standpoint, a FEMA standpoint, National Guard standpoint, because the governor has cognizance over the National Guard as well. So you have a lot of you have those relationships, and then obviously the FBI will be there and various other organizations. All right, now that's state, that's Richmond. It's the state capital. It's in a great location. A lot of great things going on there from an economic perspective. I mean, my dad's family's from there, so I have my jokes every now and then. But when I look at the city, especially the last time I've been down, I see the economics of it changing because Richmond used to be a real rough city and whatnot, and I see how it's the gentrification is actually happening within the city. So if you love living there, you better be about your business if you want to be able to stay there. That's all I can say on that one. All right, now last but not definitely not least, and I know a lot of Virginians are going to be mad at this, but it is what it is. The seven cities. All right, we're talking about Norfolk, Virginia, Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads. They call it Tidewater area. You got Newport News. You have Suffolk, Virginia. Trying to make sure I'm not forgetting because I know they call it the seven cities for a reason because the seven cities, obviously. So I've named Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Hampton Roads, Suffolk, um, Newport News, and there's various other areas that for some odd reason, it's been forever since I've been down there. So I think I've driven through there, but it's been forever since I've actually been down there. So, or, or let me just look this up real quick. Are the seven cities, seven cities in Virginia? There it is. There it is. Okay, Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Portsmouth, and Chesapeake. That's the ones I was missing. Yeah. All right, Suffolk, Hampton, Newport News, Portsmouth, Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, Norfolk. So those are the seven city areas. So that's and then that in those areas you have a lot of college institutions. You have the biggest naval fleet on the East Coast in the United States of America is down in the Norfolk area, whatnot, Norfolk, Virginia Beach area. You have, like I said, multitude of colleges. You have a multitude of government contractors that are associated with the military that's resides in the area. Thank you for your service. And then obviously you have the local governments and the state government that's down in those specific areas. And then of course because since it's port area and whatnot, you have a big Coast Guard presence and things of that nature. So you got a lot of things going on, import and exporting going on as well. So those are the main areas from the Tidewater area, seven cities I just mentioned, Richmond, Virginia, and Northern Virginia, the areas that I mentioned earlier. Those are the main areas where people flock to when they think about living in Virginia. Now, there's other areas in the state that people live in, but the population is much more slower. There's not as much going on compared to the areas that I just mentioned. So I'm focusing on what I like to call the major metropolitan areas of the state of Virginia. All right. Now, I mention all this, especially from the federal government to the military, to the local governments. Virginia has a lot of local governments, to the government contractors that are associated with all those governments from the local, state, and the federal government, things that nature. All right. I'm from the DMV area side of the house. Okay. Now, I say, in my personal opinion, I've had this conversation with my brother from another mother, Adrian Gonzalez. I actually wish he was on tonight, but I know he's been working real hard lately. But the state that we're from, the governor's race is a joke because of one thing. Regardless of who's sitting in the governor's seat in Virginia, unless they're just a complete psychopath, they can't really run the state into the ground because the state has such a close relationship with the federal government, one, and a lot of the jobs that are associated and whatnot. And it has such a big presence with the military. And with that being said, it's like there's always going to be a robust economy. That's the best way to put it. You can't compare Virginia or Maryland's or even Washington D.C.'s. For Maryland and Virginia, it's a governor's race. In D.C., it's a mayor's race because they're a district and not a state. But you cannot compare the governor's race in Virginia to a place like California, and you cannot compare it. Well, you could compare it to California, but you cannot compare it to like a Mississippi, a state like West Virginia, which is next door. Indiana, you can't compare it to a state like Kentucky and whatnot for one specific reason. You have guaranteed industries in Virginia, okay? Guaranteed industries known as the federal government. All right, and what's associated with that, the institutions, a lot of private institutions that are associated with that. Plus, you have a lot of development that's constantly going on, regardless of the pandemic, from real estate development to multiple contracts in order to, because in the state of Virginia, there's a lot of land they're going to build a house in. That's just what it is. Even though the land isn't as spread out and robust as Texas or anything of that nature, but still, or California, but there's still a lot of land. Okay, now, so a lot of those kind of jobs, from blue collar to white collar, every anything you want, there's jobs in the state of Virginia. Okay, regardless of who's sitting in the state house. All right. Okay. Unless the only way I would see it is if the state tried to succeed from the union. That's the only way I could see things going south for the state of Virginia, in my personal opinion. All right. Um, now another thing. I'm saying this because I've lived through Republican governors. I've lived through Democratic governors, and there's not that big of a change and whatnot, regardless of who ends up in the state house down there in Richmond. Now, am I telling people not to vote? No, I'm just saying, if you were one of those people that did not decide to vote, it really wouldn't have that big of a difference in the state of Virginia, maybe for somebody's political career, but it really wouldn't have that big of a stain on your life, because the only big change I could see, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm just giving my perspective on this. The only big change I could see any governor getting elected in the state of Virginia, let's just go with the Republicans. So Republicans hate taxes. So let's say the Republican Glenn Youngkin, I want to say Yorkin, his name is Glenn Youngkin, came in and said, we're going to get rid of the state income tax. So meaning every time you get paid, you get taxed and whatnot. Like states like Texas, that's why a lot of people love Texas, because there's no income tax, there, even though a good chunk of their real estate has higher taxes and whatnot. But, every state tries a way to figure it out one way or another. I'm not going to say the cost of living is not cheaper there, but, well, now it's like it's kind of getting to the point where, the major cities there are getting gentrified. Dallas is there. Houston will be next. Austin definitely will be there. San Antonio will be there because so many people are flocking there, So, demand is there. Demand is there. But anyways, in the state of Virginia, that's the only thing that's the only real big change. And that would put more money in more people's pockets if they got rid of the income state tax, even though the income state tax in Virginia is nothing compared to the egregious taxes that you would find in California and the state of New York. I'll just keep it at that. All right. So that's my perspective in regards to having a multitude of changes and whatnot. Because outside of that, the main reason people come to Virginia is because either they're in the military or because they want a job and they know they can, if they work hard enough and they're a successful professional, they have a bigger chance of making six figures in Virginia compared to making six figures in Michigan, making six figures in Texas, or making six figures in Ohio or something to that effect. Now my IT people, it's a different story because they become good enough at their craft. I mean, heck, I've met an IT person who left Virginia and moved to Wyoming and making six figures. And living in Wyoming is 10 times cheaper than living in Virginia and Texas. So that's just another way to look at it, the person I went to high school with. Anyways, I digress. So that's my perspective on why I think governor races in Virginia are a joke, in the sense that it doesn't change the economy of Virginia unless two things: you get rid of the income state tax, or you succeed from the federal government union. And obviously, I don't see that happening because a state like Virginia has too much to gain, and they're not crazy. And two, I don't see the income state tax going away because the state government makes a significant amount of money, and what they do with it, it's another story altogether. But obviously, they it benefits them in a way to have that income state tax. So I don't see that big of a deal. But remember who's running against each other: Terry McAuliffe, Glenn Youngkin. All right, these two are running against each other. All right, now before I go further, let me make sure I share my screen, because I know me, I will forget to do that, and I think I'm playing music when in actuality I am not playing music. So let me handle that right now. Sorry for the technical difficulties last night, family. Greatly appreciate it. Got to stay up with my updates on my computer. But anyways, all right. So I start with Glenn Youngkin and whatnot. He's a Republican. All right. Now, he's actually from Richmond, Virginia, my dad's hometown. But anyway, he's actually he graduated from Rice University in 1990, joined an investment bank, First Boston, where he handled mergers and acquisitions and capital marketing financing. So he's a businessman at the end of the day. The company was bought out by Credit Suisse and became Credit Suisse First Boston. Yorkin left in '92 to pursue um, a master's degree. 1994, after receiving an MBA, he joined the management consulting firm McKinsey and Company. He's joined private equity firms like Carlyle Group, which is actually based in Washington D.C. Initially, as a member of the U.S. buyout team, in 1999, he was named partner and managing director of the organization. He managed the firm's UK buyout team from 2000 to 2005 and global industrial sector investment team, and dividing his time between London and Washington, D.C. So he's got some international travel. He's a businessman at the end of the day. He's a corporate guy. I get it. Is there anything wrong with that? Absolutely not. A lot of corporations flock to Virginia because of the great economic opportunities that are in Virginia. That's the best way to put it. I just wanted to go into a little bit of his background. And actually, back in October 2017, the Carlyle Group announced that its founders would remain executive chairman on the board of directors, but step down as the day-to-day leaders of the firm. They named they named Mr. Yorkin and Ki Song Lee to succeed them as CEOs effective January 1st, 2018. So he's a CEO. He has his business background. All right. Now this is where I believe that they have a lot in common, even though one's on the left or the right. Even though I don't see in today's world, I don't see that big of a difference anywhere. But that's just my personal opinion. That's why I don't claim any stuff. But anyways, Terry McAuliffe is actually from upstate New York. Um, yeah, he's a transplant, which is nothing wrong with that. Because most people that live in Virginia are transplants nowadays. Because most of the locals, they've either gone to West Virginia, or they've gone to North Carolina, or they moved to Florida, they moved to Texas and whatnot. So like I said, I'm not bashing anybody here. I'm just giving perspective and going from there. All right. But I want to get in his business career. He started his first business when he was actually 14 years old. And he did basically maintenance for driveways, and he was sealing driveways and parking lots in upstate New York. And he actually has earned millions as a banker, a real estate developer, home builder, hotel owner, and internet venture capitalist. So that's where I was at the end of the day, that both these gentlemen are self-made. Both of these gentlemen educated. Both of these gentlemen are corporate types. Both of these gentlemen are entrepreneurs. So I don't see that big of a difference. And I'll go a little bit more. Back in 1985, Terry McAuliffe helped found the Federal City National Bank, a Washington D.C. based local bank. In January 1988, he was actually 30 years old. The bank's board elected Terry McAuliffe as chairman, making him the youngest chairman in the United States Federal Reserve Bank's Charter Association. In 1991, he negotiated a merger with Credit International Bank, which he called his greatest business experience. McAuliffe became the vice chairman of the newly managed bank and whatnot. So that let's just keep this in perspective. These guys are both from the banking industry. They get how the economy works from an economic perspective. They both know how Virginia works from an economic perspective on all levels. So that's why I just wanted to give, I say it's a joke because I don't see that big of a difference outside of these people. I mean, these two gentlemen, spewing Democratic points versus Republican points. I don't care either way. That's why I said I'm really in a neutral zone because it doesn't affect my life. I just that's where I'm at with the politics. But anyways, so let the best man win, and whoever wins, life will go on. The world will still turn, and yeah, I know the media will make a frenzy either way because that's how they get people to watch. But I won't be watching because I just don't care. But anyways, I look at it, these both types, corporate people, um, entrepreneurs. If they have good intentions, great. Terry McAuliffe was already governor once. He didn't sink the state into the ground. Glenn Yorkin, if he wins, I doubt if he would want to sink the state into the ground, because I'm sure he would want to become some sort of a career politician since he's stepping into the political game. Thing is, in Virginia, which I actually like, when you become governor, you have to sit out an actual term before you can actually run for governor again. So I actually like that about the state of Virginia, because hey, you got this amount of time to make a name for yourself. If you don't, then most people probably won't vote for you again if you decide to vote. I mean, to run again after the after sitting out one term and all that good stuff. So that's my perspective on it. I see these people as both individuals who are self-made, come from humble beginnings, well educated. May the best man win. Like I said, either way, if I've grown up in Virginia, Democrats and Republicans ran the state. The state's is not a blue state. It's not a red state. It's actually a purple state. So the world doesn't end. And like I said, I know the media, that's what they're going to do, and that's fine, but it's not that serious. So, but anyways, like I said, I think it's a joke at the end of the day, as I talked about earlier, because the economy in Virginia is going to be okay, regardless of who's sitting in the White House, regardless of who's sitting in the State House, regardless of who's sitting in someone's mayor's house. That's, it's like I can't put it any other way. Now, I know other states are affected in a much more different way because they have different economies and things of that nature compared to the state of Virginia. That's why I said nothing. That's why when I talk about stuff like this, I go by state. I'm not going to give it an analysis about the whole country, because every state is different. It's like every country in the world is different, and everybody has their own perspective and how they view things and how they do things. So, I'll leave it at that. But anyways, it's time for me to call it a night, family. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Glad we have this technical hiccup. As always, stay family. Make money move. So you can live like a fool. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the like button, man. I might go live again tomorrow night. We'll see what happens, because I wanted to be able to do things a little bit differently and whatnot. So this is one of those weeks I actually just did everything off the top of the head, and no scripts or anything of that nature. So once again, thank you for watching, family, and I'll see y'all later. Take care.